Thanks for joining us. You're listening to The Muslim Street. Again, that is Kanan, a Somali-Canadian artist from Canada. You're listening to The Muslim Street. Today, right now, as we discuss this controversy with the FFA and Lowe's and the TLC's All-American Muslim show, we have next with us Khuram Zaman, who is from the Maryland, Virginia, D.C. area. He's an American Muslim community organizer. He's previously served as general administrator for Seekers Guidance, an online Islamic educational institute, and he is currently vice president of I-21 Strategies, a public strategies firm based out of Washington, D.C. Khuram is a really active community organizer, and he's joining us to just further discuss what's going on here. Thank you so much for joining us, Khuram.
Layla, thank you for having me.
No problem. We were just talking to Sammy, who you know about what's going on, about the details, about the background with this. And I kind of want to jump in and discuss the deeper issue that we're facing here, which is what we would characterize as the growing Islamophobia within our country. And exactly why is Islamophobia an issue of concern for Americans of all faiths? Because me personally, and I think Malik would agree with me, and you, I know for sure you would agree with me, Islamophobia is an issue of concern for all Americans. And I think that you would be someone that would be definitely spot on to address that question.
Layla, I think you're absolutely on point. I don't think you have to be Muslim to be concerned about Islamophobia, just like you don't have to be Jewish to be concerned about anti-Semitism, just like you have to be gay to be concerned about homophobia. I think this is critically important for Americans of all faiths because it goes to the question of the values that this country was founded upon. Are we a land of the free? Are we a land of tolerance? Are we going to be exhibiting the worst characteristics of bigotry and hatred towards a group of people simply because of their faith? So to understand this issue, I don't think you need to be Muslim or even know Muslim. I think you have to just be an American and know what the history of our country is and the values upon which it was founded upon. I think the reason why this is kind of news for some people is because they haven't been sort of keeping track of the individuals we may call Islamophobes. These are, they're a cottage industry who've been raking in millions of dollars over the past decade. There was the Center for American Progress that they made $42 million in the past 10 years bashing Islam and Muslims for political ends. And, it's funny because, you don't really see these people throughout the daily kind of course of affairs. You only see them kind of pop up every election cycle. President Obama was running in 2008. There were rumors that he was a Muslim until, Colin Powell came on national television, a Republican who proudly served our country, and he spoke out against this. And he said, the president, Obama's not a Muslim, but even if he was, the correct answer is who cares, right?
Right.
And so these people, they were responsible for that rumor. They were 2008, an election year. In 2010, we saw another election year, the Ground Zero Mosque. 2011, this year, we're seeing the whole Sharia scare tactic, and now it's we're breaking into the 2012 election cycle, and we're seeing this tactic of going after a television show whose only crime is to show Muslims in their daily living. It's and what's the funny part is that people kind of within the Muslim community are upset at TLC because they have a lady who has tattoos and another lady who wants to open up a club, and they're being accused of secretly trying to impose Sharia, and it's absurd, and I think it's really unfortunate as to the way that our national discourse is devolving, and this isn't really kind of what this country was about. Muslims have been part and parcel of the American fabric since the founding of this country. They came on slave ships, they worked on plantations. I live in Annapolis, Maryland, and there was actually it was a slave port. And there was a slave who came through. His name was Job, son of Solomon, who came through and was, put as a slave on a plantation in Kent Island. And happened, one day by happenstance, a doctor from England saw him and realized that he was writing in Arabic. And they asked him, where are you from? And he told them he was African. Found out that he was he was a respectable scholar, and he bought his freedom and took out of this country. And this was this was in the 1800s. So this notion that Islam is an alien ideology, that it's out to take over America, it's absurd. It's an position. It's un-American. I think that this is a concern for people regardless of what faith they're from, what community they're from. The type of vitriol that we're seeing against a group of people for just being themselves on television it's just absurd. And I'm really disappointed in Lowe's for not even really trying to get the facts straight about what the issue was. They just seem to have backed out. They should really be trying to build a better America rather than, getting involved in the business of bigotry.
Definitely. And you brought up a really good point there that the TLC's All-American Muslim show in itself is just a micro representation of the Muslim American community. And, with this specific controversy that's going on now, we have the boycott that's been started and being called upon. We have just yesterday, a friend of mine was telling me that he was going to Lowe's, and I was like, wait, what? Where are you going? So that was really interesting. And then we have the petition going on, but that's just for this specific example of Islamophobia that has resurfaced in the past 2-3 days. What action items should, people of conscience, Muslim Americans, just in general, what action items are there to respond to Islamophobia in kind of a synergized method to prevent this thing, a preventive action?
That's a great question. Like I said, like the first point you brought up about how diverse the American community is, I think that's something that really strongly needs to be emphasized. So I'm, the son of, Pakistani immigrants. My father first came to this country, and he joined the U.S. Army Medical Corps with a bunch of his classmates, and they took care of Vietnam veterans that were coming into Hawaii, where he was stationed at. My fiance is an Irish-Palestinian woman. His partner is African-American, and he's a Republican who speaks at Tea Party rallies. So our community is incredibly diverse, and it's unfortunate that the All-American Muslim dragged into this whole ideological debate. It's just portraying a very normal group of people. And if you disagree, just watch the show. It comes through.
Yeah, again, the show will be going on today. It airs on Sundays at 10 p.m. on TLC. So definitely for all of you that are listening, you keep hearing about the All-American Muslim show. You can watch it today on TLC. Malik, you want to jump in on this? Yeah,
Khuram, we're talking about the Muslims being a integral part of the fabric of the United States since America, since its beginning. But I kind of beg to differ there. I don't call being a slave for 310 years a piece of the fabric of America. As long as we're working on plantations, we took this back seat. One of my arguments with the Muslim community from a broader perspective is that we have to be Muslims. And part of being a Muslim is to carry on the duties of our faith in public, be a Muslim day in and day out. So the thing that makes this country work, really have to go back to a quote by Alexis de Tocqueville in 1843 in his book Democracy in America. He talked about how the accentuation of the three races that were here at the time, how they accentuated themselves. The whites were here. They were Christian. They've taken slaves who were now black. And they talked about the indigenous people, the Indians. And they said that the Negroes, not like the Indians, will go to extremes to imitate their slave master, though their slave master shuns them from it. And there's the loss of respect. So when Muslims stand up for Islam, Muslims stand up and be proud that they're Muslims, is when the de facto integration takes place, not the opposite of that. So we have to put the facts in perspective, and that is that we have to be Muslims, and as we move through these issues of this fear of Islam in this country, we have to continue forth of being Muslims.
No, I completely agree. And what I was saying in sort of the notion that when I was making the slave reference wasn't necessarily that they were full and equal citizens, just like Native Americans were, just like Chinese immigrants, Italians, Irish, everyone that came to America as an immigrant community, whether they came Muslim or not. There was a certain degree of otherization. And what we're seeing, I think, with Muslims today is the notion that Muslims have never been part of the American experience. And I think that my personal opinion is that we've been here from the beginning. That historical narrative has been whitewashed, just like the experience of all these slaves. Their identities were taken away, and we're seeing that same attempt today. That this notion that Muslims weren't here, there's something you can't be American and Muslim for some reason. If you go to the Supreme Court, there's a relief of the Prophet Muhammad along with Jesus and along with Moses on the Supreme Court. This is the government body that expounds upon the law of the land, the Constitution, right?
Definitely,
so that's kind of what I was getting with that. And going to the second point about being authentic and being Muslim, I think 100% that you could be an authentic Muslim and an American. I don't see the two being mutually exclusive at all. I think the fundamental values that this country was founded upon are the same fundamental values of the Islamic faith. For example, there's a narration of the Prophet, peace be upon him, where he said that only the merciful will be shown mercy by the all-merciful. Be merciful to those on earth, and the one in heavens will be merciful to you. Our religion, if I could define one word, it's rahmah, it's mercy. And the Prophet even told us in a narration, whoever oppresses somebody of another faith, he will not smell the fragrance of paradise. So if you look at the tradition of Islam, the tradition of mercy, it's there to bring the fabric of humanity together, not to tear it apart. And I think that's the quintessential story of America, that all these different people came here from all parts of the world, from all sorts of economic backgrounds, and eventually our country was able to accommodate them and to create a common brotherhood. And it wasn't easy. It was, every group that came to America, they had obligations. It was not so long ago that because the president was Catholic that, he was viewed suspiciously, and we saw that with President Obama. So I think, again, that, this is unfortunately, it comes with the territory, but what we need to do is we need to call upon our fellow citizens to be the better men.
Definitely. Khuram, we will keep you on the line, and we'll be right back after this really quick commercial break. Again, you're listening to The Muslim Street. You're listening